Today's chapter is No Place Like Home, and it's chapter 35 that I'm going to share an excerpt from. I love my home. If you followed my work for a while, you know how much home means to me. I am a double Cancer. Home is my soft place to land. And this chapter really is about when we work on our inner home, how that starts to reflect in the outer world around us. And I'm having this moment one day where I hear this familiar song, and I'm looking at the cover of the album. Well, albums are coming back in, aren't they? But I listen to Pandora, and I'm looking at the cover on Pandora, and for some reason, for me, there's no photo of a lion on this cover, but what I see shape shifts into the face of a lion, which is instrumental to my journaling that day in pulling oracle cards. And it also leads me to a reflection and a deeper understanding of the fact that I never had children in my life. So that is what I'm going to share with you today. So it wasn't an actual lion I saw on the cover of the album, but it was what I saw. I realized it was for a good reason. I had woken at 4 a.m., and while still lying in bed, I recalled a day a few years ago when I was spending time with my mom. I remembered how it felt like it was out of the blue when I started to cry and told her why I had never wanted children. I was deathly afraid of the pain a baby would cause while coming out of my body. As I thought about that memory, the little girl in me that was just too afraid to have children faced the deeper aspect of my wounding. I found myself crying over the loss that I'd never birth a child. It was something I had avoided thinking about and blocked it from coming to the surface. I thought I'd made a conscious choice to not have children, but it was really my subconscious, the wounded little girl within, that had been protecting me. Through the Mama Lion, I saw a shape shift on that album cover and the lion oracle card I'd pulled for the day. I had received another piece of the puzzle. I was the fierce and protective lioness doing what needed to be done to protect her cub. And that cub was me. As I sat with the pain and grief, I eventually arrived at a place of acceptance and understanding that this was part of my soul's evolution and what I was to learn in this life. I realized if I chose to remain in regret or grief, I'd continue to carry that burden with me. I stared up at the ceiling as tears slid down my cheeks, knowing I could release this next level of pain, bring it fully into my being, and transcend it. As I began to feel lighter in mind and spirit, releasing and integrating what I'd learned from my recent dark night of the soul, I marveled at how my home had begun to shape itself to reflect my new state of being. Home has always been important to me. It's my sanctuary, my safe place to land. Now, as John and I remodeled the kitchen and living room, I clearly saw how the changes we were making were a reflection of inner lightness I was feeling. So I guess I just want to drive home today the importance of, sometimes we put so much attention on the materialistic things in our lives, and not that, I love my home, and I love, little trinkets and things too. But if we could put that much value on our inner home, the materialistic things don't necessarily mean as much. And sometimes in my experience, I have realized that the material things were a way of filling this void in me and not dealing with what I needed to deal with of the trauma from my childhood. So, that is the chapter, No Place Like Home. And let's see, the next chapter is, I love this chapter. I'm just remembering now what this is about. So chapter 36 is called Loyalty, and more symbolism is on the way that continues to support me, and this is a good one. So I hope you'll be back tomorrow. All right, see you then.